waiting in YouTube.
Hello, everybody. Sonny Puzikas here. Before we continue, if some of you guys could let us know if the audio and video is good. I know video can only be so good because Clem be first. Of course, Clem will go like, I'm first. Does the sound good? No echo, no nothing?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right.
It's a little bit of a delay, so I'll hear myself in a minute. And then I'll take these off so I don't go crazy.
Sam Russell Turtle. Good evening, everybody. Macaroni. And let me plug in the guy who's sitting right next to me, Mr. Lewis here from LCAR Concepts in person. We're not using none of that technology BS or whatnot. We have Lewis right here. Adam Hall. Good video and audio, so I guess we're good. You can remove your earpiece.
Yeah.
Bill Wade, how you doing, brother? All right, gentlemen and ladies, if there are any ladies present, I haven't seen any yet. So this is our Let Us Attend. Clem, what do you mean double mic? Oh, there is an echo?
A little bit. Maybe I'll shut the mic off on this. Is that better?
Yeah, you're just gonna have to speak up because then it's using this mic.
It's going to that Shure mic?
Yeah. Actually, no, it's going to the laptop mic. I haven't. Hey, Clem, is the echo gone by now? Because we turned off the second mic.
Should be good.
Okay, cool. William Wade says we're good on his end. Clem says better. Of course, he's not going to say good. He's just going to say better. Fuck.
He's been hanging out with you too much.
I know, right? Oh, that's right. He got himself. There you go. We have the first lady. Carrie's here. That's good. Hey, what's up, Eastern Bratva? Mark Kog, how you doing, sir? That fixed it. All right, cool.
Yep.
So anyway, before we continue, I just want to do a couple quick shout-outs. Today, as it has been for a while, our sponsor is Ammo Supply Warehouse. AmmoSupplyWarehouse.com. You see that sign behind Lewis there? Partially. Don Stinson, how you doing, sir? And Butch, the guy who runs Ammo Supply Warehouse, he's been here once or twice, enjoying himself and pain that this place sometimes provides in misery. It's the good place for the purveyors of fine freedom seeds. And Butch has two warehouses, one on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, the other one is in Nevada. That's Ammo Supply West. Their shipping, their service is second to none. It's absolutely awesome. And what can I say? He's not just the salesman of things. The guy trains, the guy gets involved, and life is good. So for all of you who are watching, and those of you who are not, I don't know how that would work. AmmoSupplyWarehouse.com is where you get fine freedom seeds and many other things related to that business, magazines and such and such and such. All right, with that being said, today we do have a very special guest in person. Lewis here, he's been here for a while, visiting Texas from LCAR Concepts. As I said in a Facebook post, he's also of tactical response fame. So, Lewis, welcome to Texas.
Thank
you. And let's have a drink. Yes, we are having some adult beverages, and those of you who are going like, wait, Sonny's drinking something that's not clear. I don't believe that any of you will complain about what we're drinking and, try to embarrass us or say negative things. It's Blanton's. So we just enjoying a fine beverage after fine dinner. Phil Lewis, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, yeah. Very fine dinner.
Yes.
Damn.
So me and Lewis did some physical work here at Fort Honey Badger today. Moved a couple metric tons of lumber. It was adventurous. And then did some work on the range, and then we had dinner and having a beverage, and now we're going to be talking to you all fine people. Louis has been my guest before. We had a chit chat when him and Andrew were teaching the class here, and you're probably going to see Louis here again in one capacity or another. You know, he kind of likes to hang out around Texas every now and then. But again, those of you who don't know who Louis is, Louis started simply as a guy who wanted to do some training. So he signed up for a year of training, right? With tactical response. Year of fighting with tactical response with James Yeager. God rest his soul. And that's when I met Louis first. I met him in Las Vegas over dinner. And then a few times when I came to visit Camden to teach classes or be at alumni weekend. Next thing I know, he's teaching classes. Next thing I know, we're hosting tactical response here at Fort Honey Badger for the fighting pistol. And Louis is one of the instructors, along with Tim and James. So, and then for whatever crazy reason, Louis started taking some of my classes. And so, yeah, that's our story. That's how we got to know each other, and kind of crossing our paths on mostly on the shooting ranges, but not only. And so Louis was here for the class this past weekend. It was Shooter Fighter Matrix 2. We did some work, and he's still in town. So I figured, why not? And here he is. Louis, anything you want to tell listeners, viewers, whatever, about what the future holds with LCAR concepts, when they can expect to see some of your classes and things,
Yeah, I should have better answers for these questions. When John puts me on the spot with some of them on live streams and stuff, what I can say is I don't want to promise anything and then not be able to deliver.
Yeah.
And so right now I've got a move that's going on. So I've got to get that handled and be able to plan things around. I mean, people's time is extremely valuable. To try and put something on a calendar right now to make me feel good because I've got 10 classes scheduled wouldn't be good if something happens where I'm not able to get into this house that I'm currently dealing on, or whatever the case may be. I don't want to drop the ball once I start rolling with it. So, guessing it'll be probably about by the end of May. I should have the website up. You should see regular postings from me on all the social medias. It's LCAR _concepts on all the social medias, YouTube. I do have one that is LCAR concepts. It's like impossible to find because all it shows you is concept cars.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Car concepts.
Yeah. So I got the Bugatti with the 6 engines in it.
That's awesome.
All that pops up, but you can't find my channel. You can find my other channel, what was supposed to be my second channel, called Becoming LCAR. So LCAR standing for Lone Civilian Armed Responder, because that's what I am. and that's what my teaching is going to be around. So the Becoming LCAR right now, you can go on there and see. We did about a 2 hour talk on some physical fitness stuff on it.
I know. A while ago, you
Yeah.
woke me. You told me I needed to be up by like what 5 or 5:30, whatever.
Yeah,
Ungodly
on your
time
birthday.
it was on my
That I
birthday. Yeah.
did. Yeah.
See, I get abused in my old age, man. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It is what it is. So, but without making any like hard promises or whatnot, would you say that sometime maybe later part of this year, people
Yeah.
can possibly expect to see some updates and things?
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure, for sure.
Cool.
Like I said, by end of June, then I hope to have 12 months planned out, kind of where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna post up where I'm training, what classes I'm taking. Um, kind of a selfish instructor. I like learning a lot.
I noticed.
So,
I noticed.
yeah.
I noticed.
So it's like I gotta throw some classes on the schedule for teaching. So I'm gonna also post up where I will be attending training. So if you're interested in taking a class with me,
Speaking of upcoming classes, May 3rd, 4th, this coming weekend actually, at Taprack Ridge, and Lewis is pointing towards the finger at the bottom, sliding, uh, in Corbin, Kentucky. I will be teaching there AK now. Hey, Super Dave Harrington, rock and roll.
hello, sir.
We can dig it, Dave. We actually were just talking about you over dinner, Dave. So your ears must have been burning while you were sitting there. And so anyway, me and I'm going to be teaching the class in Corbin, Kentucky this coming weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And the way things kind of worked out, because Lewis is going to be heading, with all his things going on and all that stuff, that direction. So those of you who are interested, you know, maybe not so much because I'm teaching, but Lewis is going to be taking the class. He's going to be there at Taprack Ridge this coming weekend for the AK Knowledge 1. So, yeah, come join us. We're going to have fun. Also, my son is going to be there, so he's partially going to be filming, but I'm probably going to let him do some drills with AK since we have an AK for him standing actually right behind us, but it's live, so we cannot show it to you. Actually, Lewis was the guy who presented my son Nick with that AK after our dear friend Kadium has passed, and uh, you know, Nick referred to Kadium as his Tennessee grandpa because when we were driving through or we would go to teach or attend SRF festival or whatnot, Kadium was very, very gracious host, and he always put a roof over our heads, and me and my family stayed there, and of course Lewis was there as well, and so when Lewis presented that AK to Nick, and then told the story that this was one of the tactical response rifles from James that was given to Kadium, and then before Kadium passed, he wanted that rifle to go to Nick. So my boy kind of teared up, and it's pretty cool. He asked me if it's possible to engrave something from James Yeager and Kadium on his rifle. So I'm going to look into engraving a couple of things from those two gentlemen. I think it's going to be a pretty special thing for the young man. Anyway, we're going to move on. So, uh, as Lewis kind of implied here, uh, he's he's no stranger to being a student. Lewis is definitely no stranger to being a student and taking classes and attending, learning, looking at different things. Not always necessary at the things that he, maybe 110% agrees with. But that's one of the signs of people that should be teaching, is that they are open-minded to do things. So when we decided a couple of days ago that Lewis is going to be here at the studio, and we were kind of, well, it was mostly me, I have to admit. I just kind of sent Lewis this text message. I go like, here's what I would like to ask you, kind of hear your take about few things.
Yeah, I think you said something like, here's a few things I was thinking of. Let me know if you're thinking of anything else. And when I saw them, I was like, oh, well, that's
about 6 hours
yeah,
worth of
that's 6
conversation.
hours, so I think we're good for this one at least.
Right, right. Excuse me while I'm enjoying. After that beef and everything, this tastes so freaking good. I'm sorry I cannot share it with all of y'all, but you know, what can I say? We're just gonna tell you how good it is. That way you don't feel left out. All right? Cool. Um, all right. So let us start with the first thing that I kind of threw at you a couple of days ago. And if I remember correctly, what was the first thing out of the three that I threw at you?
So I had them as that one, and
Oh yeah, that one. That's a Quimbideri. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Yeah. Damn, that is heavy shit.
then that. So I don't know if that's important solder or we crush them.
Not really. Just start from the top. And again, guys, I will probably. Rich, yes, the steak that you brought, brother, was excellent. It was about yay fat. It took me a while to cook it, and I thought it was medium rare. It was as rare as they fucking come. That bastard was still moving when I was eating it, but it was good. I appreciate that, brother. Um, so while Lewis is talking about things that I sent to him because I wanted to hear someone else's take on that. I obviously have my own take on that. And as we talk, as we go over, obviously, I may chime in, with a couple of things or additional questions to make Lewis's life harder, because that's what I do for a living, make people's lives harder. Um, and you guys, if you have observations, if you have questions, if you have something that, on the topic kind of hits you, please chime in. We do have access. We can see your comments here. Um, for those, if there are any kind of trolls out there or whatnot that gonna do stuff that they sometimes do, I'm gonna tell you ahead of time before we roll, guys. I'm simply not gonna even acknowledge your existence. So waste your breath. Polish your fingers on those buttons. You can polish it on something else. It's probably more pleasant, because you're not getting any raise from us. So that's that. For the rest of you, once we get to the topics, if you have questions, observations, your views on something that we may talk about, chime in, please. And if because we are ultimate judges here, we control the buttons, right? So if your comment or your question, we deem it that it's something that this is something that would be a cool thing to talk about or address, or at least you know acknowledge and brush upon that specific comment or whatnot, we'll bring it in. All right. So Lewis, take it away, brother.
All right. So the first prompt that you sent me.
Actually, Lewis, let me switch you to your camera, and you can turn on your phone.
That mic.
Yep, and I'm gonna turn off that mic.
Pow. Audio still good, guys? You can hear me? Well, there you go. It'll focus in a sec. Macro.
Why did it do that?
You moved me into camera one or something.
I must have.
Yeah. Well,
Is the sound good,
yeah,
guys?
I'm sure that I'll project a little bit. Right? You guys still hear me?
Yeah, guys, let me know if the sound is good because we try to switch here. I'm technologically a little bit freaking slow, all right?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, cool.
So, first prompt relating to like not bringing your work back home or coaching relationships, and basically what are my thoughts, you said, on student/instructor relationship. Does it have to be separated from friendship in the student instructor dynamic? And that led me down like a research project. Like, it shouldn't have been a research project, but I wanted to be clear because you sent the word and in quotes coach, but then also student instructor dynamic. And so I was trying to get to the bottom of each of those words. So I wrote down coach, teacher, instructor, trainer, mentor, and master, like a master blacksmith. So I'm like thinking these are all some kind of teaching role. And then I expected there to be like a master has an apprentice, has a student. So a coach has a player, but I couldn't get definitionally
Uh-huh.
without kind of circular, and they all kind of mismash all these synonyms to have the same definitions basically. So that was the first rabbit hole. Um, but I think we do need to be mindful of, from either side, what we're trying to be or what we should be, maybe. Um, so if you're in that position, are you a coach? Are you a teacher? Where do you fall in that? Because then what you're delivering to the person, first rule of communication, know the audience, right? So you need to know who you're communicating with. And if you're on the other side of things, the one kind of consuming, are you a customer? Are you a client? Are you a student? Or are you simply an attendee? Right?
I love that word attendee.
Right? Or participant,
Participant. Well, in my book that I told you guys during the class that once Megan started editing, it just became this. Again, it took a life of its own because once the editing went on, I'm like, okay, I have to add this and I have to write about this and so in one of the chapters I actually talk and I use the word for what you call attendees or participants. I use the word belongers. And once you read it, you'll see those who indeed fit in that category of attendees, belongers, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to request a refund, but oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah. So first, be clear, kind of, or you should be clear in your own mind at least what that relationship is. It's definitely something to be careful of, kind of mixing those boxes. I don't I don't think it's something that should be addressed with a general rule. So saying, you shouldn't be friends with your students. I don't think we can paint a broad brush like that.
No,
It's an absolute.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, as a matter of fact, well, you know yourself. With a lot of my students, I can say that I do have good, productive, and at least I would like to think like honest friendship. You know what I mean? That's not only because I'm an instructor, you know, but when I sent you that thing, that's something, man. And I just wanted to kind of give the background to that. When I started studying with Vladimir, and this was many, many years ago. Because of our somewhat similar backgrounds and where we come from, and shared language and culture, and to certain degree experiences in service and such and such. I mean, we had decent connection. You know, and like Vlad was always, when I would attend this seminars or when I went to Toronto or whatnot. I mean, I stayed in Vlad's house. But what happened, and that's the way I told you that, the way I formulated when I send it to you, don't bring your work home, is that I brought that friendship that we shared outside of the mats. I brought it onto the mats. I wanted people to think. I certainly thought so, but I really badly wanted others to think that I have very special relationship with Vlad, and I wanted it to be seen on the mats. You know what I mean? And it took me years to realize. And actually, when Vlad mentioned that he had such a relationship with Mikhail, with his teacher, that if you bring that friendship that exists outside of training setting, if you try to bring it onto the mats or onto a range or onto whatever environment we're training in, you actually, it's not about devaluing what your teacher slash friend has to offer, but I think you did. How would I say it, man? The density of what you receive becomes less.
Yep. So I think, and I mean, Jaeger always said this, like, don't train family. Don't train your own family.
Yeah.
And because you have that certain relationship, and yeah, it doesn't belong, or it's not going to be the most productive for you guys, for really either side.
Yeah.
In terms of as you are trying to progress, because regardless of which one of those words you pick, the intent or what that person does is in some ways um, helping the other person along a path.
Yeah.
And so if you're someone's trying to give you directions and you're cracking jokes in the middle of it, you're probably not going to get to the destination the way you'd like to. Or you might make a wrong turn because you were thinking about cracking a joke with him when he was giving you make the left at Walmart.
Yeah.
And so now you're driving around to town for 6 months,
Yeah. Right.
trying to figure something out just because it slipped. And if you want to do just the dual screen this way, we could do a back and forth because they were looking at my ugly face while you were dropping knowledge.
You are good looking, man, comparing to me, man. You are good looking, you know what I'm saying?
Um,
I mean, look at us. Right? Okay, fine. I'm kind of sexy in my own way too, right?
so, so then another thing I said is that conversations may need to be had, and they may not. They should probably be able to be initiated by either side, and the other should be an adult. I put capital man if it is brought up, you know? So if on the student, like, you're taking it easy on me, or, you make me do something different than the other dudes, or,
Yeah.
and it feels weird, and it's giving you, and it's an impediment to your learning because you feel the instructor is bringing that relationship to the mats, or, pick which one of the words prior, then that should be something that could be pretty easily brought up, and, like, be a man. Don't be a bitch. Don't hold something in for 2 years and then, like, fuck it, I'm not. I'll go somewhere else to learn. Like, if there's something that like needs to get delineated. Like, hey, when class is over, like, cool, we could go back to doing that stuff. But like right now, like we're here to work.
So would you say during the class, even let's say, let's just take example, right? Let's say I'm taking your class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are close friends. We've been friends for years and all that stuff. Would you say that class is not the time? And even if it's not even, like attended by 20 other people, right? Maybe it's a small semi-private class, or even it's fucking one-on-one. It doesn't matter. Would you say it's not the time for me to kind of crack some fucking, like smart ass jokes that we do while we're drinking whiskey, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in some establishment or whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if we're there for work, and I mean, there's always there's always room for stuff, right? There's let me see, did I quote it in here? Yep, here we go. There's a there's a good book out there, and it says something about everything having its season. So
I may have I may have a suspicion what kind of book it
yeah,
is.
it's a good one. It's heavy. It's heavy. um, but it is a good one. Uh, like there may be some blurring of those lines, right? You may get some summer days in spring. You may get some fall days in summer. So there may be a blurring of those lines, but it shouldn't be snowing in August, right?
Yeah.
And so if both parties are serious, they can find a way to do both. So if there is a conflict over blurred lines, and it's just kind of not not handleable, then one aspect of the relationship may need to be sacrificed for the other if possible. um like, hey, I'd rather be friends, and we
You,
we can stay that way, kind of thing.
it's funny you say that, and I'm thinking I haven't yet. I'm gonna have to check on some things how it's gonna work out. But I'm thinking about going. I haven't seen Vladimir in like 12 years. Last time I saw him was actually he was teaching in France, and I was at the same time in Europe during my classes, during my seminars, and he was teaching in France, and so I went to see him, and I haven't seen him since in person. So I'm planning to, if God willing, if everything works out, to see Vladimir at the end of May in Philadelphia. He's doing a big seminar there, and I decided for myself, and I don't know how it's going to be because we haven't seen each other, we haven't spoken in such a long time. We just recently established contact, and I don't know how it's going to be, but to me, it's like this: that dude has so much to offer. If there was like a clear cut choice, not to sacrifice, but what would I give up?
Hmm.
Learning from him or being his friend?
Hmm.
I want to learn.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I honestly sat down and I thought about it, and I'm like, that sounds almost fucking cold,
Hmm.
But I'm like, the value of what that dude, what that man has to offer, it's so great that my some kind of desire or want or need of friendship so I can get more personal wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
personal time and all that stuff, it does not justify sacrificing what I can get from him by being nothing more but a student. You know what I'm saying?
I do, I understand. I Let me throw something back at you. Do you think the first thing you're going to do when you walk up to him be like, hey, so what, the toe goes here, and how do I do the this or the that, or
No,
right? You're
no,
gonna
I
still,
know, I know well,
you
okay.
guys are probably going to talk for a while about a lot of stuff in life before you get back into that
Well, first of all,
learning zone.
Vladimir is the man of very deep faith. He knows that in the past, number of years through what happened in my life and all that, I have not just myself as a person, but also, so to speak, formally have come into Orthodox faith, Orthodox Church, and all that. And Vladimir is very. I'm trying to look what the word. He's very compassionate about it. I mean, for him, like people coming into Orthodox faith, Orthodox Church, for him, it's an event in his life. So I'm assuming, if I'm able to make it to Philadelphia, that's going to be first thing is going to be that connection of faith.
Beautiful.
From there, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna go like, hey, man. So I saw you do this thing,
Right. Yeah.
And so can you explain me like, I don't know, density gradient coming from your calf and how you load your movement that's determined by action, direction, and is the loading or the action determines the turn of your knee? And when your knee turns, do you lift your heel or is it no?
Right.
That's not what's gonna be. But at the same time, I have no expectation of, long 30-minute hug and, buddy, I missed you so much.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 That might be out of character for the relationship, right? Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows? You may walk up and he may put you right on student mode.
I, that's not outside of the realm of possibilities with Vladimir. It's absolutely not. I've been there before with him, and it's
Like a good to see you.
I don't fucking really know what it is, man. But I tell you what, like for a couple hours, it's a memory that's like disturbing because you still feel it. The man can hit, and 2 weeks later, you start extracting lessons and you make a phone call. You're going like, hey, man, something was different about that. He goes like, no, there was nothing different about that. You were different. Huh? What? So 2 years later, you started getting what he was saying. 12 years later, man, it's really a tender memory of friendship. He did it to me because he cared. And that's the funny fucking thing about it, man, because, like all of my most of my influential teachers, and Vladimir being the most influential teacher of all teachers I've ever had. You know, there were moments of guys don't do it. Like normal tenderness. You know what I mean? Like dude goes like he cares. You know, that fucking tenderness, man, had fist in it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it was like a main thing to keep your ass straight. It was not like, oh no, Sonny, you should readjust the way you look at things and talk to people. No, Vlad would just look at me, and this is not per se in private, although it has happened in hotel rooms where we're drinking excessive amounts of vodka, or in his living room. But Vlad would go like, Sonny, and I'm going like, he's gonna do a little demonstration or whatnot, man. Next thing you're on the ground trying to figure out if you will be able to take the next breath or not you know and the look on his face is like looking at you, and it's almost like you can read it. He goes like, you need to be more fucking humble, douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done in front of 130 people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That lesson in humility is not done in private. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He puts you on that fucking stage. He goes like, I don't need your humility. You need that humility in front of fucking people. And it's hard to swallow there at the spot. You know what I mean? You kind of, and that's where it comes. You go like, man, I thought you my friend.
Mm.
And it's like his face, it almost tells you the answer. Exactly, I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if
water,
this is
the water you need.
the water you need versus the whiskey you want. Speaking of whiskey you want.
Let's see. And I'm not looking over there too often at the comments. It looks like my side is freezing up on one of these for seconds every once in a while. So
Oh,
it
is that right?
catches my attention. But nah, I wouldn't mess with it. But I'm just letting them know if there was a really good comment, just go ahead and repost it, guys.
All right, let me put the chat on here so I can
And
scroll down and see.
and for those of you watching this after the fact, go ahead, drop in the comments. What do you guys think on this situation? You know, how do you manage that relationship? Like, especially when you're spending a lot of time, you know, together or in in proximity. You know, we're not talking 2, 3 classes a year. You know, that's it. When
Yeah,
you're having that regular back and forth, and you're doing that practice on your own and trying to figure it out, like Orion, like, hey, I'm gonna try and do the front roll. Like, should I jump on my head on concrete or should I start on my knees? You know, should I start from my knees? It's like, well, you pick and send me a video. I'll tell you how you did. You know, so that's uh, something I'd be interested to see with the comment section, because everybody's going to say, you know, it's easy or simple, or, you know, when it's time to train, it's time to train. But I bet there were times you've been out training and kind of joked around a little bit. You know, I mean, Tim's everybody's friend.
yeah.
It doesn't mean he's not teaching.
No, I mean, yeah, like it would be good to hear from the guys. Like from my personal perspective, yeah, we had some incredibly fun times with my teachers and with let's say with Vlad in particular. You know what I mean? But with some others too. I mean, I had teachers that I really didn't have any friendship with. You know what I mean? My Kuntao teacher, Guy Savelli, you know, I was his like behind the closed door student and all that. And oh, he would teach me some deep stuff and I would spend time at his home or whatnot. But per se, there was no friendship.
Mm.
I mean, it was pretty cold. Guy Savelli was a very different kind of personality. He's pretty harsh, you know. For years, when I trained with Victor de Toars in Ciroc, you know, in this place in Los Angeles, I mean, he was nice to me, and you know, and I, you know, and I was truly blessed to have, you know, a legend, Danilo Santo, as my training partner while taking private classes with Victor de Toars, you know. And but I also would not say that we had like a true friendship.
Right. And not saying, like, obviously you've had that relationship with other teachers.
Yeah,
And he may have friendship relationships with other students, but one way or another, like, here's where we were at. It was the relationship was that kind of one lane.
yeah,
It didn't have the multiple lane
yeah.
going on where you had to navigate that traffic. So
Yeah, so I don't know, man. To me, it's really interesting topic. I mean, I think it would be cool to hear, you know, from the guys. Let's see, Bill Wade said something. In my opinion, it shouldn't be a problem. Be mindful, respectful at all times, and understand when it's time to be quiet and submit yourself to your instructor.
mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, you met Bill before, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, you met Bill. You know, Bill is an older gentleman. You know, I,
Yeah.
I consider Bill brother, a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Bill also is an incredible student. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
during the class, Bill is not a friend. Bill is a fucking student.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he listens. He's like, "Oh shit," you know, I suck, you know, and we have that. But I think a lot of younger dudes, when they read something that like Bill says, you know, where it says, you know, whatever the word he used, you know, submit yourself to your instructor. A lot of younger dudes, they look at that word submit or be obedient or whatnot as something that is below their alpha male, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
presence.
Well, because they want to be immediate peers.
Yes. And I think the problem there is fucking pride and entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I can tell you guys, and it may sound arrogant and it may sound almost disrespectful, but it is what it is. Most instructors will not do very well handling arrogance coming from their students. And here's the thing, you know, some people say that arrogance is most of the time is born of ignorance. I wish it was that simple. I think that some arrogance is actually over time developed trait of personality. It's not necessarily that person doesn't know it. He refuses to accept certain things that go against his preferred belief system or his, believes that he is inherently entitled to a special treatment because it's him.
Hmm.
Because it's him. I can tell you that, guys, right now. This will not fucking work with any instructor worth salt. This will not work well. I can damn guarantee you. Yes, some instructors will still take your money. Uh,
Yeah, James said as long as their bullets go in the berm, let them come and show us how they shoot.
yeah, but at the same time, you told me the story today about sponsors, right?
Mm,
About James Yeager,
mm,
right? God rest his soul. And one of the sponsors was kind of trying to tell James about how this product should be marketed and all that because he didn't like what James said. And Lewis is telling the story when we're doing some work on my range here, and I was laughing my freaking ass off because James goes like, "Hey Marilyn, have you cashed that check from XYZ company?" And Marilyn is probably thinking, "Oh shit, I should have cashed it." So she's like, probably nervous, going like, "Fuck, I'm about to get ass eating by Jaeger." And she goes like, "Well, no." And Jaeger goes like, "Good, send it back to these motherfuckers." And I'm like, "Yes, bravo." You
yep.
know what I mean? And not to disclose any details or whatnot.
Hmm.
It was a check for $10,000, correct?
Hmm. Yep. And then he looked over at me. He goes, "Motherfuckers on the internet say I'm a shill." They don't know
Yeah.
about stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, man, act with integrity and honesty, and you're gonna be all right. I
Yeah.
think. So that's to quote the great Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that.
I wasn't sure if it sounded like Forrest Gump or Tim. A little bit of both, I
Yeah.
suppose. All right. Damn, some people are making some long comments. Some people are.
Yeah. Clem had a good one. He said something about a uh, well-timed joke, or I think about a lot of about timing. The right question or joke can elevate the class and instruction.
Yes, indeed.
I think so.
I agree with that. And, but generally speaking, in order for a person, for a student who's participating to pick up that timing and placement, okay, he's already on a different level.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's already in tune with that instructor's both personality and teaching style, and by him being there already, they probably already have a relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Clem's one of those crazy people like me who, like, will take the same class a whole bunch of times,
Yeah,
and so yeah, at that point, you
yeah. You
you
do
know you're
establish.
not you know you're not throwing them off the rails.
Yeah, the wheels are turning differently. They
Hmm.
they, they kind of been synchronized, and so yeah. I mean, he's not wrong. Let's see here. Turtle Costello was saying, "I viewed in the similar nature as when I was still in the military. He was good friends with my sergeant. He was more like a brother than a friend. When the uniform was on, I respected the man and the rank accordingly. He was my superior. I was a subordinate." Yeah, and, in a way, I guess.
And there you really got to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's not necessarily per se a choice. It's something that's that's the expectations. That's the expected behavior within the hierarchy of the military or whatever organization or entity you're involved with. So
Mm-hmm.
Here, here's what's different, and I think partially, and you tell me what you think. Do you think that some students feel that they are entitled to act certain way and not be, not even correct or scolded, but maybe not shown as much attention because of the way they act, but they feel that they can act that way because they paid money?
Hmm.
Customer is always right.
Man, I think in my experience so far in the training worlds, I don't see too much of that because like Jaeger did a good job of firing people before they ever showed up.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, don't want your money, don't come here. Um, so typically, the people that I've I've interacted with at all the training courses I've been to as a student or taught are typically pretty good dudes. Like they're very few and far between of that guys.
Yeah.
And maybe because I rarely take a class with a shot timer.
Then again, we are swimming in a little bit different waters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that within like martial arts, right? Like strictly martial arts, there is quite a bit of it. There is quite a bit. Yeah, with people like Vlad, Michael, I haven't seen that in a long, like decades, but I have heard some horror stories. And early on in my career, when I started teaching, while I still lived in Florida, I had a couple of people that paid me for private training, significant amount of money, and 2 months later, the guy is all upset that he is not punching exactly the way I punch. I mean, it was that expectation. Say, dude, I paid you freaking $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm supposed to be within 2 months punching the way you do. I mean, that's the cost. That's the price that I determined for your skill. I mean, dude really
Yeah.
kind of had that attitude. And
2 months, huh?
yeah, I'm sure Clem's kind of laughing right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, hey, I mean, dude, it'd be nice.
This was many, many years ago, so
Yeah.
I do have to say that this was very, very. And King of Arrakis says, I think that some people come to training for badge, and
Yeah.
and there is that.
There,
There's definitely that. There are certificate collectors. There are
yeah. Again,
less
I
amount of
haven't,
those.
yeah, I haven't crossed paths with too many of those. Not too many.
Cool. Jennifer Lowe says, "Good seeing you, gentlemen. Time to tackle some ribs. You enjoyed them ribs." Yeah. This comment coming from Jennifer, who is obviously a female. A little joke that we were talking about McRib and all
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how female that I don't know well personally how she would take that joke. So I think I'm not gonna say it.
Her and Sky would probably laugh over it.
You think so?
Yeah.
So Jennifer, before you tackle ribs, I have a joke for you, and I'm probably gonna be banned or reprimanded for sexism and whatever, right? Yeah, Clem, they will love the certificates, right? You received your first certificate after 50 plus seminars you've taken with me, right? So here's the joke. So God creates Adam, and it was good. And God asks Adam, he goes like, would you like to have a lifelong worthy partner, so you are not alone, so you can multiply, so you can have quality life and a friend and a lover and and all that. Adam goes, absolutely, Lord, absolutely. God goes, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Adam thinks for a minute, looks at God. He goes like, what can I get for a rib? I let me make the funny sound.
Yeah. I need the
Yeah. Special sound effects here. So anyway, Jennifer, enjoy your ribs.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, Louis, I mean, we had some good comments on this topic.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
All right. Yeah.
Move on.
All right.
Move on, my man.
So the next one, you want to do the Latin for me?
Esse quem videre.
Sequem videre. To be rather than to seem. What's your take? So first and foremost, I think, and good thing Brandon's watching. I think I need that tattoo. Um, while I narrow down on my Bible verses,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
I'm like, man, every time there's so many verses that I'm like, that's the one.
I don't have enough square inches for that,
Yeah.
man. Because I would probably tattoo half of Matthew and
Yeah. Like, all right. So where are
you're
we?
not the only one.
Like, where are we starting Genesis? Are we doing
I know,
like
right?
sequential here?
Yeah.
So that's one. Something
Yes, I got you, bro. As far as the ink.
sweet, sweet. So on this one, to be rather than to seem. So I'll start with one very grammatically correct sentence or two. If you be, you might seem. However, definitionally, if you only seem, then you ain't.
This is, as an instructor, like a year from now, I will be teaching instructor development class, right? So this is the one what I will tell in that class to instructors. This is where your causation is very, very important. Once you deliver things like that, you say it slower and you emphasize certain things, and then you let silence do its thing. You know. So you may want to repeat that, folks. I want you to listen, as Vladimir once told me. Слушай внимательно и думай медленно. Listen attentively and think slowly.
All right.
Say it again.
So if you be, you might seem. However, by definition, if you only seem, then you ain't. Better?
Yes, that was good pause. That was
All right.
great timing, great punctuation. That was good. Hold on. Wait. That's right, Mark Hensley, by the way. For the third time today. Happy birthday, Subdeacon Mark. Subdeacon Mark is watching, so it's his birthday today.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I'm gonna be seeing him tomorrow.
Yep.
Very cool. So yeah, so that's a big takeaway. So illusions don't survive first contact, right? So I mean it's gonna be I don't know, maybe the rest of my life I quote Jaeger on shit, right? But he said there were three things that American dudes, no matter what, thought they're like the shit in, right? Like elite level. One is fighting, one is driving, and one is sex. And in all three of those endeavors, whatever you think you are, or however you're trying to seem, doesn't survive the first contact. It's evident. Step one, turn one. Once I give you the keys to my car, I know all the talk you've been doing about racing to this and racing to that. I know it's bullshit, and
once you drop the trow and you go like because you were talking about swinging your big pipe, and the girl looks at it and she goes like, I ain't gonna make much waves with that. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't survive the first contact.
Nope, no, it doesn't. So with that being the case, there's also a delivery on expectations aspect of this, where it's always better to exceed expectations than to fall short of them. So in that, I put a sleeper car versus like the Civic with the spoiler and the exhaust.
Yeah.
Right. So you may have that, whatever it is, and it's worked. It just doesn't have a
Because
paint job yet, or
because
it
you
doesn't have
because you
rims.
have a chip and everything else doesn't mean that you necessarily need to write it on the
Mm-hmm.
on the door that
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So better to be, you'll win more money racing cars with a sleeper than a flashy one. Like what is your goal? Do you want to be
or to see.
or to see? You want to be able to lift a car off of somebody, or you want to look like you could lift a car off of somebody?
Let me ask you a question. How does that translate into a student coming into a class? And I know you've seen that because that's pretty universal. And I'm not saying that he's not interested in learning or getting better, but I'm saying with many dudes, and I've seen it many times, just as parallel as far as the priority is to impress the instructor, to see him.
Yeah. Like I have all the things, boss. Look, see, I have all the things, so it should be easy for you to make me into you.
And not just that, it's you know what I mean. Like you remember I said in comments numerous times when you were in my classes, I know how you shoot. You know what I mean. I've seen you shoot, but I've seen you in the group of dudes when I give the command work, right, and everyone is they doing their work and they sending the hate at the targets, whichever the drill it was. I've seen you finish last.
Mhm.
I mean, I have a guy who's not even at 5-7% of, let's say, your, as far as marksmanship skills. He's finished with his 17 round magazine. Let's say if it was a pistol drill, you're on the round 5.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Aren't you worried that you're not going to impress me?
I'd and not what I showed up for that day, I guess. Yeah.
But I can also tell you, and Lewis is my witness, in things like that, that's what impresses me. It's not the guy who crosses the finish line, it's the guy who crawls towards that finish line and leaves no fucking stone unturned on his way to finish line. If the finish line is the drill. And I have, thank God, I have a lot of students like that they will take their time to immerse, to get into it, to see, to ask the why, to dig the essence, because they want to be, not to see. And as an instructor, to me, it's a freaking high. It's absolute high because you see, yes. Is it good when you get the little envelope with cash or Zelle or PayPal transfer comes through, or your credit card processor shows bing, payment keep. Yeah, it's great. It pays for things. It allows certain things to happen in your life. But the freaking high of having dudes, the king is naked. Like they dropped all their shit. They don't care about who's gonna think what, who's gonna think, what's the pecking order in the class or whatnot. That dude for himself has determined I have a fucking puzzle that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Right? And he's deliberately working on it. He's not glancing around to see how did Joe do, how did what I mean? Zero F's given.
That's not the time for ego.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I've conquered ego, right?
The minute you say that, I'm going to take you
to
the punching room.
The punching room. Damn. Yeah, no, but you know, a season for everything,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm working, say that the drill you do for the mover, right? Um, and I'm trying to extract every ounce of what I can process
Yeah.
from each round, and that may be different because of where I'm at than other people. They not may not be juicing to that level for each round, but for me, I'm trying to juice every bit of value I can out of each round in that drill and be, as attentive and mindful in it because that's how you grow.
Not only that, but isn't this why you came here,
Right,
right?
right. So if we're loading magazines up at the table, and someone does have a like, oh hey, I thought you could shoot, like, oh well, like anytime you want to throw $1,000 on this table, we'll step back to 75. Like whatever you want to do, or you want to do something else, you want to do,
Yeah.
like, you pick the game and you just throw your 1,000 on the table too, and we'll figure it out. Like, so
Dinner that night would be so
yeah,
good, man.
like, so I haven't conquered the ego. I just I know when to try and really put it on the shelf as best as I can.
Butch Becker is on, by the way.
Hello, sir.
So I saw Butch and I'm like, yeah, Ammo Supply Warehouse. Yeah, guys. So as I said at the beginning of the show, Ammo Supply Warehouse is our sponsor for our live streams, and the sign is there behind. Actually, I can move this, which will show both Lewis and the sign. See that? See that? See that? Ammo Supply Warehouse. And just yesterday, I hung two of those signs at our range. So not because Butch is a sponsor. Butch is a dear friend. He's a brother. He's part of our bratva. Uh, yes, he sells freedom seeds. He trains. He bleeds. He puts his fingers to the wood and his toes to the
Mm-hmm.
2x2. And so yeah, he's my people, and support my people. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see here in the comments. Let's see what we have in the comments. Oh, Martin Hensley.
Deacon Mark saying his favorite students are the ones unafraid of failing, doing the fail, then asking for the missing pieces. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
why do we go learn? Right? It's not because we already know it. It's not because we can already do it.
Yeah.
So you, if you should be expecting to fail. You fail in training for a reason, so that you don't in the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, people would take the fight force on force scenario based, right? And some stuff gets heavy and emotional for them in that. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's where I think there is quite a bit of, I think there's quite a bit of value in the scenario stuff for that, and so that people can meet those emotions. Because we could talk about it in a lecture, but until you play out a scenario where it's like, shit.
Well, like also remember in the conflict management
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The role playing it out. Yeah.
when people role play their own past.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Without me knowing anything about their past, and all of a sudden you present the scenario, and the guy goes like, "Been through it, man. Been there, done that," and you're like, "Oh, shit!" And it's not like a light-hearted scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a social thing, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, fuck. So yeah, and I also seen it in Force and Force, you know, because while I'm not a scenario-based Force and Force instructor, that's not to say that I don't do scenarios. It's
Right.
not just
Yeah.
scenario based.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen someone Vicky. You know, she was there with her daughter and Aaron, her son, taking the Force and Force class, and I sent them in as a bad guys while Vicky was in the room, and I had to walk into a weightlifting area with Vicky to talk. I mean, it was freaking heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, you see things happen, and it's
Someone makes a decision, and
yeah.
next thing you know, like their wife is bleeding out, in the scenario or
Yeah.
whatever the case is, and so somewhere around towards the later half of day one, you see a lot of heads hanging.
Oh yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
and people just down on themselves, and that was always my, like, I made it a point to, like, get those chins up. Like, you made that mistake here in this convenience store, that
Count your blessings. Count your
Yeah.
damn blessings.
Like, get if that were to happen next week, would you do the same thing? They're like, fuck no. I'm like, well,
next week would be in the real convenience store.
there you go. Yeah. So that we're literally setting you up to fail in those scenarios, right? We don't make a bunch of scenarios so you could walk out and be like, ha, I knew it.
Yeah.
Basically John Wick.
Yeah.
Basically. Like, confirmed, hypothesis confirmed. so yeah, like, it's set up to be hard and to give you those losses, if that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So that you can make those adjustments before you need to do it for real.
Very cool, man. All right, guys. As you can see, we are going way into overtime, but Lois has been here at Fort Honey Badger all day long, so I figure, we just ate hefty dinner, and now we are enjoying a little bit of Blanton's. So, and a number of you are still watching, so we'll keep yapping. Plus, we still haven't covered everything that I sent him. So, while he's going to start covering the next thing, I'm actually going to walk outside really quickly and take a leak.
Okay.
Because the nature calls, you know how that works. So I will be right back while Lewis is continuing with his stuff. Don't you go. I mean, if you need to take a leak, take a leak. But if I come back and I don't see the same number, I'm
Yeah. Shit.
What is
I'm
that?
in trouble.
What is that line? I'm gonna find you. Something along those lines.
Yeah. All right.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Grab my lights.
Well, all right, guys. So let me see. Were there any comments on that we need to go through here? Mike Aroni, Sonny taught me how little I knew, but how much I had to learn. Right? Yeah. It's perspective, man. Right? Like, it's rarely in a class where you're going to catch an instructor try and belittle you. That, in my experience in the classes I've taken, I've heard horror stories from friends going to people you would know the name of. But yeah, it's a matter of perspective and knowing what their intent is, right? So, like you're saying, Sonny's intent is not to show people how little they learn. He's just trying to show us how long the path could be, should you want to take it all the way. 3H survival. We got Brandon saying he knows this person to person basis, but if you could pick one class that you put on this year, what would you recommend for someone that has never taken a class from you to take? I'm guessing that was for Sonny, and I'm guessing he would tell you Fear Inoculum. That's kind of his flagship class. I think if there's anybody who's taken Fear Inoculum in the YouTube chat, just drop it in there. Tell me if I'm speaking out of turn on that one. Josh DeWalt, eliminating novelty of loss of life or death in scenarios is a huge lesson. Yeah. Some, like, yeah, there's a lot of deep lessons. I'm not going to give any spoilers out on the fight, but
Is Josh on?
Tom Hollaby wants to know what he should take from me. Well, I think you should take the donut class for the circle only reticle, and this way, me and you could team up on Andrew with it.
Andrew's probably going, WTF?
Yeah.
Tom, me and you talked so much about how superior the dot is over that damn donut, you know?
Yeah, then Tom will be like, "Yeah, but I tried it," and Lucas explained it, and it's just better. And then Tony's concurring fear inoculum, best class ever. That is what Sonny will say. So Brandon asked what class you would recommend people take, or that they would get the most out of. I forget exactly his wording, if they hadn't trained with you. And I told him,
Like, it really depends, guys. It depends what you want to get. You know, it's fear inoculum. You know, it's funny because fear inoculum, you can say that it's overview class. It's a 5-day overview, but it's not overview from the bird's eye. It's overview about 2 miles down.
mm,
You know, it's underwater dive, and it's dive into your own freaking soul. You
mm,
know, and I think this is where it has to start. You know what I mean? You're not gonna learn per se. Well, you will learn quite a few things because we do knives, we do guns, we do plenty of empty hands, we do a lot of physical conditioning, we talk a lot about psychology and emotional state and many other things, and we put you, you know, to test your own, so to speak, commitment to things, right? And it's not the mirror on the wall kind of class, you know. It's the class that it's the real mirror. It will what when you will look at that mirror, it's not distorted.
nope.
The reflection is pretty damn clear and it's pretty damn accurate. So fear inoculum, yes, I would say that's probably the class that you will get the most out of. Now, it's a big commitment. It's a freaking 5-day class, and even that 5-day class alone, at the end of it, you will be like, damn. Besides, you know, not to scare people away, you may have something hurting pretty badly. You know, there could be some weird looking discolorations. Um, like in few cases, there were bones were not quite where they should have been. You know, and things happen. Things happen. It's we push deep, but you will get out of it what you're probably gonna get more from it than you expected to get. Certain things that you didn't want it to get.
Mm, yep.
So as far as that goes, if you're only interested in, let's say, pistol work, you know, shoot a fighter matrix, if you're interested in movement strictly, escapology, clinchology, you know, if you want to feel what it feels like to get some love, you come to impactology, AK or rifle, your thing, go to AK knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, take them all, right?
You know, but if you want, like, what would be your first step, Brandon? And I met you, man. We talked. We had some. I still proudly display your work on my wrist. You know, the 41. I told you the story behind the 41. I appreciate that ink being done while John was live in his studio. Brandon is like, you know, during the SRF there in Camden. Yeah, Brandon, you know, I don't know you very well, my man, but little that I know about you, jump in and fear knuckle. Jump in. You will be sore. You certainly will not be sorry. You certainly will not be sorry. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Lewis took fear knuckle back in March. That was his 1st. You
Mhm.
know, Clem is on here. He has taken fear inoculum 3 times now.
Yeah. I think Josh gave it the most, possibly like one of the most succinct, good explanations right there.
Fear is a must attend for those who are serious or wish to need to become serious about themselves on a deep level.
That,
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that, brother.
yeah,
I really do.
well said. I think that kind of sums it up.
Brandon says, I proudly express that punch changed my life.
Yep. If you think that, then fear's the class. Yeah.
And another thing about it, there is Brandon, that once you come to fear, you will get to meet other dudes that they've been in this rodeo for a while. So I'm not the only one who's going to be delivering some deep love. There's going to be other people that will deliver some stuff.
Yeah.
And you will know. And you will know. Again, I'm not saying that to make it sound tough or go like, oh, this is just like for really badasses. No, I think this is for men, any men that are serious about returning meaning to that very honorable title that we were given, men. You know, and we need more of it, man. We really need more of that. So cool. Did we have anything else while I was gone?
That was it. I was kind of talking with them on some of the comments that dropped. So we were basically out of that seam versus B.
Cool.
I had written this other one this down, but that's us to discuss.
Okay.
So then the next, wait, we may need to skip that one.
Which one is that?
So you sent the prompt is range safety rules and their effect on training and learning, things we may not consider because it may break the rules. Have I observed that, and what are my thoughts?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it was actually basically an afterthought when I had a little rant when we were doing moving on the ground with a pistol. And when I said that, some people will go like, well, no, you cannot do that, because if you do that, you're gonna flag, right? You're
Yep.
gonna flag somebody on the left and the right. Thus, you cannot do that.
Sure.
And that could be the only way for you to no longer be in the spot where you are 1 second away from your life ending. So then what?
What's more important?
Remain safe and die?
Yeah. Get your prepay your tombstone. Get it to say he followed those rules.
He followed those rules and he sacrificed himself honorably while following the rules. I'm pretty sure your kid, your son, gonna go like, God bless you, daddy. I mean, I'm so glad you died without breaking safety rules and didn't come back to me to teach me to become a man, right? And I know I'm trying to make it a little bit of a dramatic Hollywood like, inroad here. And some people go like, that's freaking gaslighting, and yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, let's skip that. That's probably a separate conversation that we can have at a future date.
Yeah. 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 A short one. Let me just touch something here. I'm gonna throw it in there. Eli Dickens, was he as safe as possible or as dangerous as possible?
I mean, I wasn't there, but I would submit to you that he was shooting at the guy who was in a crowded food court in the mall, from starting from 40 some yards and then advancing to 20 some yards, and then the bad guy went into bathroom with 7 holes in his body, I believe.
Eight
or eight,
yeah.
and then died, basically. I would say that Eli was being freaking dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree of that, some of our range Nazis would say recklessly so.
I would. They may argue that
They will.
No innocent bystander touched by one of his bullets. To the eye of a bystander in the mall, right? It may have seemed like he was being safe because he saved so many people. Nobody else got injured, right? None that mattered anyway, right? Just the bad guy. But yeah, when I watch it, I see he was dangerous as fuck to that bad guy.
And isn't that the job?
That's
If God forbid you have to skin that smoke wagon and do the job that it's designed to do,
mm-hmm,
right? I mean, by very definition, this is the job that needs to be done as quickly as possible.
mm-hmm. So,
Because with every second ticking by, the risk not just to you but to everyone around you is increasing exponentially. Exponentially.
so if he took more time to think about the safety rules and the 180 rule and if he was processing that, then that dude with the rifle is killing more people in the mall.
Yeah, we could have been in double digits easily.
Right. So if he was focused on safety instead of being dangerous to that bad guy, good people die.
Oh, Davis Lester, how you doing, young man? Good to have you here, sir.
Um, so yeah, so that we kind of skirted the rules thing, or we didn't slay any sacred cows on.
No, this is a separate conversation.
But yeah, that's
Even from what we do in the 2-5 drill, right? That's a whole other rabbit hole to dig that you kind of go like, but, yeah. But.
yeah, and that's whenever I'd be like, I don't even the four are still in. You don't even really break the four in those.
I guess suppose like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah. Um. So then the next prompt was, well, man, this one's going to be scary to read. So, how many, after some time in the training universe, how many people would try to access their gun if they were in my seat right now and you suddenly attacked? How many would just do the work? Is that a problem? Have we created a bunch of gun decapped dudes whom the gun is the only safety they possess?
Let me repeat that question and paraphrase it. What I'm talking about is this. By the way, competent retard, as far as what is the 2-5 drill, it's the drill that I developed over years. I am pretty, how would I say, guarding of that drill. Uh, uh, there will probably, at least in the open environment, will not be a full videos explaining the drill and all that stuff. And it's not just because I feel like possessive about it or whatnot, because it's my drill and I don't want others to copy or whatnot. It has a lot of components in it that you have to dig in deep in order for that drill to serve its purpose. It's a difficult drill. It's only 25 rounds. It's 25 shots fired at 5 distinct targets. It has to happen in certain sequence. It has metrics of time, of accuracy, of no shoot targets, of static shots, bunch of penalties. It's very mentally and physically exhaustive drill. It's fast paced. It's chaotic, and it's a treasure trove of information as far as diagnostics of your sock. Basically, you can say that it's a Fort Knox of your sock.
Yeah.
The door to the Fort Knox of your personal sock is opened in that drill. It's pretty much make your freaking pick, and you will find quite a few of your socks there.
Yeah. It tests just about everything you would need in a gunfight in terms of for the shooting portion of gunfighting.
Yeah.
I'm hard pressed to think of something that isn't addressed that
I mean, we don't include medical in it, right? So we don't have any restrictions as far as tying up the tourniquets or whatnot, right? So this is strictly moving and shooting drill. We don't go hands on, at least not in the versions
Right. Yeah, yeah.
1 through 6, right? But come November, I will have shoot a fighter matrix 2.5, which is a basically 2 days of force on force within the restraints of 2-5 drill. So yeah, while I just like Super Dave Harrington, I don't have per se prerequisites, but I would very, very strongly suggest that you take Shoot a Fighter Matrix prior to taking Shoot a Fighter Matrix 2.5 force and force dimension, because that's gonna, yeah. Competition is obviously.
Yeah.
Josh.
Josh ran 2.5 with revolvers.
Okay, so let me tell you a story just as a little entertainment, right? So people from Ohio are freaking special, right? So about a year ago, I was teaching AK knowledge at in Ohio at
Klingman's or
yeah, at Klingman's place. At Klingman's place. And Bob Lester came out with both of his older sons, and he brought his 9-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And they were doing different drill prior, and I kind of go like, "Why did you fire that shot static?" And the young man got upset, and there were tears, and you know what I mean. And he's sitting next to Bob, next to his dad, and he's feeling down and all that. So we did a little pep talk, a little bit of this and that. Not so much pep, but more like pick up them things. Walk up there, pick up your AK, and do the thing. So this young fella, 2 days prior to his 10th birthday, finished a freaking 2.5 drill with 7.62 AK.
Yeah.
So that's one in Ohio. Then my good old dear friend Josh, right, comes to freaking class and decides to run 2.5 drill with a freaking 5-shot revolver. Was it 38 special or was it 257 Magnum?
I forget which one he was shooting there. I think he was shooting 38.
I think it was 38, yeah. And he did the whole fucking thing with a revolver.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time anyone has done, the revolver thing in 2.5, and I was kind of standing back going like, Ohio people are damn special, dude. Like 9-year-olds finishing drill with the AK,
Yeah.
running the whole 2.5, and then some dude just goes like, you know what? Because why not?
Yeah.
I'll do it with a fucking wheel gun.
Yeah.
And did it.
I mean, nothing like testing your revolver reloads. I mean, hell, standing on a firing line where everybody's just shooting revolvers. A revolver class reloads are tough in the middle of a 2.5. Like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Hey, Turtle, I know we're kind of running way late and you have to get up in the morning. Text me when you get up in the morning and when you have time for us to talk about the thing that we were going to talk about. And I will give you a call tomorrow, brother. Sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, at this distance right now, back to the, how many people would, if you attacked right now, how many people would try and go for their gun, right, versus just trying to do the work, fighting forward, and is that a problem? I mean, at this distance, sitting down, I think prayer is probably a better option than going for my gun.
Preferably few years prior, daily.
Yeah. But I mean, in that moment, I mean,
Lord have mercy would be a good place to start, right?
Yep. Yeah. See you in a second. Hope I did enough.
Wow.
Right.
The dude is funny, you know what I'm saying?
So I think there'd be 2 high percentage groups. I think one high percentage group would be like a one-hand defense, and like a one hand
gun
to a gun. A small percentage of that may go to a knife. Right?
Small, very small.
Yep. And I said maybe. small percentage. I think the percentage of people who would have a knife on their belt is probably larger, way larger than the percentage that would go for it. And then I think the other big percentage group would be maybe a two-hand defend group. Like,
some kind of a defensive position and
Yep.
hoping that the storm dies down and I make a mistake. And
so that is definitely a severe hole in most of our games, myself included. It's in there. I know gun isn't a talisman, right? It's not going to ward off the bad guys. This is clear. This, to a man, I think everybody who takes training would agree to that statement. The gun is not going to ward off the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yet, there's a disconnect in there's a necessity to train with your gun, to be very good with it, right? You have to be good with it. It's not going to do the work. You're going to have to. I think I've gotten to a point where I'm fairly competent with my blaster at this point, right? That said, nothing says the bad guy's going to let me use it on him.
Yeah.
So this one actually, oh, wait. So I told you that other drill that I created earlier, but this one I got a good drill. We can test what we're talking about with Sims, right? So here's my drill set up. We're gonna socially distance, right? So 6 feet.
Okay.
Then as soon as you start to attack, right, I'm allowed to then draw my gun and I'm gonna just drill your chest or Mozambique you, right?
You will do it now?
We gotta wait for some sunlight and some cameras, and I think that would be a good one to get on video.
The sun will be up at 7 in the morning.
So I think, and maybe even better than that, because I'm not the quickest draw. Like maybe there might be someone out there like, with super quick draw abilities, and they're just super awesome and they want to go ahead and try and do that, and because obviously they're better than me with a gun, right? So it's not gonna work because my build drill times, my splits aren't even in the teens. I don't even have jailbait splits.
Damn, boy.
So maybe that's where the difference would lie. So if they want to come stand and deliver to stop that attack, I think that'd be an interesting display.
So we have a question here, and Nick Engelin is asking, I have been told that firefights with handgun, pistols, revolvers are at such short distances that you can use hand to hand. Well, first of all, before I go any further into your question, Nick, let me just say that, absolutisms are, you can have a fight literally at this distance. We can smell each other. You know what I mean? But you can have a fight at 50 yards. And you gotta have skill sets and abilities for that full spectrum, and possibly outside of 50. Again, the incident we're referring to in Indiana in the shopping mall. I mean, it was just under 50.
Mm-hmm.
But and it wasn't per se a gunfight because the criminal, the murderer, whatever, he was shooting at other people, so he was not engaging the guy who smoked him, right? But it takes a skill. It takes mindset to keep closing the distance and keep pressuring the guy and laying down the hate on him. So that part of a question, as far as that you're always going to be in hand-to-hand distance when pistols or revolvers come out, not always. Now, statistics will say that.
Wait, one thing to throw in there also, if they're at that short distance, he says you can use hand to hand. Who is the you that you're talking about, Nick?
And that's the big thing to quantify, is do you have what it takes? And what it takes, yeah, you can test, with the buddy from the apartment downstairs, right? Or you can come here, test it with me, or not even with me, right? Let's take Philip, right? Let's take Philip, right? 250-pound freaking machine with
Yeah.
all the experience in the world, doesn't feel much pain, certainly is not easily to be, to become afraid of things, right? And he can rumble,
Mm-hmm.
and he can rumble. Test it out, right? And it's not necessarily just that. You know what I mean? It's yes, not always you're going to fight a monsters and Hulk Hogan's and all that, right? But when you're talking using hand to hand while somebody has a firearm, whether it's a pistol, rifle, revolver, it doesn't matter, or a blade for that matter. The opening, the the allowable margin for mistake is so freaking small that your skills cannot be freaking average. Your physical conditioning, your mental conditioning cannot be average. It's not something you're gonna go to your shopping plaza, taekwondo, krav maga, or sistema, or muay thai, or boxing thing, and 6 months later walk out of there, 100% ready, able, and willing to rumble. No, man. I hate to say it to you, and it might sound like a downer. It's gonna take years of immersion. Dedicated immersion. It's gonna be painful, not just physically. You're gonna have some major, major ego bruising sessions. Major, especially when you think that you reach something, and usually it happens somewhere in the first 20% of your evolution of becoming good. You think that you are at 80%, while reality is you are 80% of a travel away from becoming half-ass competent. But you think that you're 80%
There.
towards mastery, not competence, mastery. There is interesting inversion, right? But so to answer your question, Nick, yeah, it's from the logic perspective, if Lewis at this distance pulls the gun, for me to try to access mine, and we can't do it because we can get in trouble with our social media here. That's not to say that me and Lewis are not armed. We are. Uh, but to me, no, I would go hands on, But then again, like Lewis was saying, that's me. But even if it wasn't me, logically, that would make most sense. But if it's me without the skills that me today possesses, man,
Yeah.
that's a dark place to be, man. That's a dark place to be. And it can be tested, dude. There are other people teaching interesting classes, and I'm not necessarily even in a small percentage in agreement with the material that they teach. But in that environment, you can learn some things. Take Craig Douglas's ECQC class.
Mhm.
I mean, it'll open your eyes in a few other orifices. And yeah, it's a nice oil check. It's a really nice oil check. And Craig has, Craig's classes are attended by pretty decent number of pretty damn competent people. Like you have 20 people in the class, you can be fairly assured that at least 3 or 4 of those guys are BJJ brown belt or above. You know what I'm saying? That's besides Craig himself, right? Or the guys that are maybe assisting him. So yeah, you will get your oil checked. You will get your oil checked. Let's see here.
I like Josh DeWaltz.
Yeah, hammer to the head.
H2H instead
That's
of hand
that's
to hand.
that's from very secretive and very obscure system, guys. If you're not aware, it's called Mansfield Fu, and It's a very rare system. I'm a grandmaster in it. Josh is my teacher, as a matter of fact, in Mansfield Food. And if you don't know what Mansfield, Ohio is, go check it out. Actually, if you go to Mansfield, Ohio, you may not need to take ECQC class.
Yeah.
uh, let's see here. Well, DB Cooper, I appreciate that, sir. DB Cooper says one of the finest live streams I've ever taken in. Been here the whole stream. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here for 2 hours now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We kind of went overtime. Guys, one of the reasons I'm doing this, I'm preparing you for the next Tuesday as well. Lewis is going to smile here with the time delay because Lewis knows. Next Tuesday, I'm going to have Super Dave Harrington as my guest. And those of you who haven't taken a class with Super Dave, you should fix that.
Mhm.
Dave is an amazing instructor, an absolute, it's a treasure trove of knowledge and skills and opinions. And Dave will talk.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: he has a lot to say.
Yeah. And I mean, it's valuable.
Yeah.
He'll open your mind up.
Yeah. So
He's a dropper of truth cocks.
yes,
You
indeed.
gotta make sure to get him familiar with that.
Yeah,
a phrase.
get the familiar with hashtag truthcock.
Yeah.
That phrase was actually been originated by one of my dear friends, brothers, and students, Bart Stewart, whom you should also follow because he has Reverend Bart's America live stream that he does each Sunday evening, and you should watch that. And he addresses in politics and social problems in our country and other places. And Bard has one of the sharpest tongues and one of the best command of English language and eloquence on the level that I'm freaking jealous, man. I'm
Yeah.
freaking jealous. Bart is one eloquent bastard, but when you look at him, you kind of go like, whoa, 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 missing teeth, tattoos, definitely steroids in the past. Guys, you haven't even covered a freaking entrance into Bart's life if you mentioned that and 10 times it.
Hmm.
Let me just tell you, the guy has lived. The guy has died more than once with a needle in his vein. Bard has he has a lot of truth cock to drop it all of us. So that's where that phrase comes from. So next Tuesday, I'm doing kind of like an early plug. I'm gonna have Super Dave Harrington joining me, and we're probably gonna have probably about as long 2 hour conversation.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, I was
sure.
speaking to Dave yesterday on the phone, and I think it was our record as far as the shortest phone call we ever had. We clocked in at like 52 minutes or something.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's that. What else we have, Lewis?
Uh,
Because I need to send you back to your hotel
Yeah.
too, because
let's see.
you've been here all day.
I think that was it on that topic of the what happens in this distance. I mean, we're basically sitting, what is this, Tahoe front seat distance
Yeah,
apart.
we in Toyota Tundra.
And it's so by the time there's a shifting of weight, like you're on the other dude. Like if your first instinct is like, I gotta get this gun out, damn.
And I'm not
It's
saying
gonna be difficult.
I'm not saying that guns should not be a option that you consider.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that at all. But that impulsiveness to get to the gun because, and the reason why I send you that as a kind of like a trigger for you, right? Is because, as we both know, the sad or not sad or funny or stupid reality is that, and I'll say it, overwhelming majority of dudes that come to gun classes, they suck old, wrinkly balls when it comes to combatives.
Yep.
They absolutely suck. I will go further and say that half of them have zero skills and capability in the area. Zero. And about the same percentage, certainly in the physical conditioning. And, if I was nice guy, I would say that it could be better. No, it fucking sucks. It's terrible, exceedingly, abysmally.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a fact. Like, fix that, guys. I mean, they're that becoming LCAR channel that I plugged in the beginning. Go on there. There's an accessible workout format that you can modify. If you have questions, reach out to me. Like, it's something I've paused the live streams for time being. I've been doing some Zoom call or
Yeah.
sessions with a few other people, and we're getting that going on a regular basis now. If you're interested in getting added to that group of individuals, reach out to me. The live stream will come back, but go check it out. See the format. It's modifiable. You can cut it in half, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a half hour to dedicate a day to getting to know your body, then you are lying to yourself.
Nobody out there can honestly say I don't have time. If that is, and it should be a priority, you make time. It is now, granted, there are days. Your wife is in the hospital, you have 3 kids to take to school, but there are days. Very few of us live that kind of rushed, compressed, dense life on a daily basis. Very few of us. Our dear friend John Willis would say very, very simple: fucking sleep faster.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, or you're making decisions. You're prioritizing. Your time has been prioritized. Like, look back at yesterday. You prioritize certain things over others, right? Some had to get done, but a majority of it, there was a lot of time that was prioritized
Yes.
for something that could have been prioritized to something else, and you just have to. I mean, I didn't wear this shirt by mistake, right? Quote the great Mike Tyson, right?
Yep.
It's doing stuff that you hate to do, doing it like you love it.
And here's the thing, when you ask yourself why you hate to do certain things, is because you lack that word, discipline. That's why you hate it. It's not because it's worthy of hate. It's about you. It's not about the thing. It's about you.
So make the decision, right? And that's a cool word. I love Myron Golden breaks that word down great, because he's like, it's a cutting away of all other possibilities. I've decided I'm going to do this. I've cut away, right? Like incision, decision. I've cut away the other options. So make a decision that it matters to you.
And I'll go a little bit further on the opposite side of the spectrum. What you accept is what you choose. So if you accept lazy existence, being out of shape, being weak, it's not just acceptance, guys. It is a choice. Both doing and not doing are choices. And when you choose not to do by accepting the lazy existence, guess what you cut out? Guess what you cut out? That which is fucking good for you. That which is needed to be a man. That which your family one day may need in order for them to make it home. I mean, the price is not that high. Nick Engelin goes, what was that pink thing? It's something that
an egg maker.
well, we were doing in our church. We were doing they organized little egg roll for the little kids and all that. So one of the ladies bought the things for the little girls to play with, which includes my daughter, who's 2.5 years old. So, being a great dad that I am, I stole two of them because when I heard the sound that it makes, listen carefully, and freaking enjoy it. Let it sink in. It's like entering into a Tool song. Actually, one of the Tool songs, I believe, Prison Sex, starts with
Is that
something.
it?
So anyway, it's one of the things now that kind of I use it to calm myself down with. It irritates the fuck out of everybody else, but that's why it makes me calm. So, do we have anything else, Louis?
I think
Goodness,
that might do it.
we've
Yeah.
been on for 2 hours. Listen, I saw some people had to go to sleep, and we really appreciate you guys sticking out with us for all this time. Uh, Louis Caras from LCAR Concepts. Becoming LCAR is the YouTube channel where you can go and join in some great morning fun that him and a few other dudes are involved with. In due time, in reasonably close future, you will hear more from Louis about what's to come in the future. I may or may not know, but I cannot disclose it because if I tell you, Louis will have to kill you. And uh, so keep your eyes peeled for that. LCAR Concepts. This coming weekend, me and Louis both going to be in Taprack Rich in Corbin, Kentucky. I'm teaching AK Knowledge class. Louis will be present there as well, along with other great people. And what else? What else, Louis? Support our sponsors. Support the good people in our community. Uh, my wife, who's not in town right now, she's my always sponsor for the Honey Badger body sprays. You can go to my website and buy them, and she has one for one of two genders, the only two genders that exist for men or for women.
Yeah.
And they are all natural, all organic, and all that stuff. They are body sprays, they're not perfumes. So, my wife is my sponsor. How I get paid, it's none of your business. Um,
It's legit, guys. I got a bottle.
yeah.
I keep a bottle of this
Needless
in the
to
truck.
say, he got himself a man's version.
Yeah.
Just to clarify before anybody makes any freaking comment.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate. Thanks, Louis, for spending the whole day and helping me quite a bit today. And as I said, we moved about probably 2 freaking tons of lumber. One of those freaking logs was like, at first, Louis kind of goes like, yeah, you know. He takes like a perfect stance for a fucking deadlift and all that. And I'm looking because I cut that oak. I'm kind of aware what it is. And that thing was like probably 600
Yeah.
pounds or
Yeah.
something.
Too heavy. Yeah. Two
And
flips was all I was doing. And I left it in the road.
yeah, so
And then the one when I was trying to get it out of the truck, I went to go like a give her all, and she didn't even know I was there.
right. So yeah, we're gonna get Louis going here because Titan is also probably going. Where's my dad? He's tied up on my range there, protecting that side of the property. And thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It was a good chat. Seems like our viewers
Yeah,
they
thank you
also
guys for joining.
appreciated it. And this has been episode number 17 from Let Us Attend from Gospel of Violence podcast with our special guest Louis Caras from LCAR Concepts. And I will be seeing you, God willing, next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time with no other than legendary Super Dave Harrington. Prepare yourselves for probably what is to be about as long. I really don't expect that me and Dave will fit it into 60 minutes. And no. Dave has a lot to say. And what he has to say, you do want to hear.
Mhm.
Trust me, you do.
Yeah,
wanna
that's
hear.
a notebook next week, like I will be
Take notes.
Yeah,
Take
I'll
notes.
I'll be watching that with a notebook.
Yeah, I can already tell you because me and Dave spoke last night, and you guys gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be deep. It's gonna be deep. All right, everybody. You all have a great night. Go enjoy your families. We appreciate you being here, and may God bless.